Hey guys, this is Edo from the Tech with Edo YouTube channel. In this video, I want to walk you through the 6 shades or different types of project management type roles in the tech world or the tech industry. So, project management in itself is a very wide and broad area. And there's various roles that, if you move into tech and want to work in project management, you can actually cover. And these roles are slightly different, but they all have general and core principles in common. So my goal for this video is to take you through it, give you some sense of the different flavors, different types of these roles, and see if you may or may not be interested in one of the others or a subset of these roles. Let's get started. So what I mean by delivery. Delivery, in terms of definition, is just the act of producing and actually delivering, no pun intended, a project, service, or product to a customer. This customer can be somebody external to your company or an internal employee as well, or a set of employees. And we usually call these like stakeholder groups in the corporate jargon. And there's obviously a delivery context, meaning a set of industry or a specific industry vertical in which these delivery roles operate. An example is the classic example, I would say, is the consulting industry where every piece of work is a deliverable, and the various roles at a consulting firm all work and act in a very delivery centric role, meaning they all adopt a shared understanding of the act of the delivering a project, service, a set of projects, which can also be termed a program. And so they're very much used to operating in a delivery fashion. But there's also in industry, there's firms that have a subset of roles that operate according to a delivery approach, and other roles that do not. So these two, especially in the tech world, intersect, collaborate, and share also best practices in terms of how they work. So, for the purpose and the focus of this video, we're going to go through, how these roles generally generally work in the tech industry work. And, in terms of background, I'm going to speak from my experience. Of course, my experience is going to be biased, but hopefully it's going to be a useful insight and a useful window for you, in terms of learning more about these roles. So the first role that we're going to look at, of course, the classic role, project manager role. These roles are very, very common and always seem to be in demand and of growing in demand in the tech space. The core focus of the role is, managing scope, timeline, and budget within projects. Scope is essentially the key artifacts or the key assets that you're actually delivering. Of course, timeline and budget, fairly redundant in terms of definition. Just making sure that you deliver a project on time and within the allocated or intended budget amount and cost. And so the project manager classically from an organizational perspective does not have a lot of hierarchical authority over the project, but you will have a lot of functional authority in terms of being able to functionally lead and have authority and responsibility over the people that you collaborate with and you bring together to deliver the project team. In terms of key skills that you're going to need as a project manager, of course, in terms of leadership, empathy, in terms of ability to communicate, and really just being able to be savvy and know about your domain area. And of course, being able to be organized, structured, analytical in your thinking. Those things don't hurt. From a career path, what you can expect is to start as a junior PM and then grow into a more senior role. And even with time, you're going to be able to lead teams of project managers and take on bigger and more complex projects. A different flavor of the project management role is the Agile project manager and also Scrum Master. I couple these two together because the framework according to which they operate, the Agile framework and other methodology, Scrum, are very, very similar and I thematically tend to group these together. These two figures are very important and have been growing in demand in recent years. Starting from the first one, an Agile project manager works within an Agile framework. The Agile framework is a specific framework on how to organize and deliver work. And so you're going to be an expert in all things Agile and their methodologies and key frameworks and tools that the framework has. You're going to also be able to help the team estimate and plan work and manage the team communication and the Agile backlog or the product backlog. That's also another term that you will see thrown out there. Again, from a career perspective, you go from a junior to more senior person, and you're going to also become a lead eventually. Scrum Master is another role within the Scrum framework, and you're going to become essentially an expert and an enabler type figure to facilitate the adoption of the Scrum framework while being embedded in specific project teams. And these specific project teams are usually software engineering teams, so very technical teams in which you will operate and you will facilitate what are called Scrum ceremonies, and you will overall support the adoption and the learning and the development of the Agile framework itself within the team. The main goal here is to make sure that the team works at its best in terms of being efficient. So you'll see figures here becoming less and less junior and becoming fully fledged Agile coaches or Agile experts in the framework, and that are able to evangelize or just like take others through what the best practices of the framework are. Then you have another flavor, which is the program manager. Program managers are usually working or operating at the program level. Programs are effectively collections or groups of projects that can be organized and grouped and categorized according to a similar or common or shared theme. So programs are sets of projects that have, usually higher up visibility and that therefore require strategic alignment and a good amount of cross-functional collaboration, which is nothing but a fancy term to say different teams across the organization having to work together. So we'll also be able to lead and facilitate executive level communication, whether it's in a meeting or whether you'll be actually communicating to executives in terms of representing what is going on with the program. And usually, these communication and assets come in the form of program reports, steering committees, and general team-wide or program-wide meetings and forums that require a lot of people, aligning on the direction and the status and, what's going well and what's not going well within the program. The interesting piece here is that this role connects us to the project manager role in terms of being also another career opportunity. What I mean by that is that as you grow through a project manager role, you can start to manage bigger and bigger projects that eventually become programs. With them becoming programs, you will also grow and can further develop into a program manager type role. Another flavor of the program management remit is that you will also see technical program managers. This is the role that I actually do cover now at my current company. And the key difference, of course, as you probably, it's obvious from what I did from the title, but the key difference is that there's a technical component, technical focus. You will usually lead technically enabled initiatives or program, meaning programs that require work on a software or platform, right? So usually in tech, these are programs that require a software development lifecycle, require software engineering work, and a technical program manager works with those technical engineering teams and then relays back to the business stakeholders in terms of connecting the business objectives with the technical program delivery. So there is a very denominator here that is, the development life cycles in terms of the management of the actual software being created, being planned, and then ultimately released. And then there's a specific technical documentation component, meaning also representing in relevant documents and relevant memos what the technical requirements of the software engineering solutions are, and just making sure that those are well communicated and also well translated from a business perspective all the way down to a technical perspective. Another role is a product manager. Product manager is a delivery role, but the key difference from this role to the other ones is that there is a specific product that acts as the key to which the role is related. The other roles that we've seen are yet delivery roles, but there's no such a concept of a product. There is a concept of an initiative. We've seen the concept of a program as a collection of projects. We've seen the concept of the project itself. The product manager is ultimately responsible for establishing the vision and feature roadmap of a specific software product. So your main responsibility going down and beyond that point is to be the customer voice for your customers, meaning being very embedded and being very close to the users of that product, being very receptive of feedback and their activities as they go through using the product, liking the product, not liking the product, and overall just relaying back to the product team how the product is solving or not solving a specific problem. And so on one hand, you are responsible for a product, you're very close to the customer or to the user side of the product, but you ultimately also have to, similar to the technical program manager in this respect, collaborate back to the engineers, the technical people developing the product, and just making sure that the features and the technical work all support what we said at the beginning, the product vision and the roadmap for where you want to take your product as a product manager and ultimately as a company. And usually all of these roles collaborate and work within a specific team. It can be a team of project managers, which is sometimes categorized and structured according to a very specific functional matrix or a very specific line or organizational chart. Sometimes you will see project management teams being defined, project management office teams being defined, or PMO. And those teams organize and manage people that work from a pure play delivery perspective. And again, you'll have more junior product managers, back to this role for a second, learning, developing into ultimately seniors, principal product managers as well. These are very coveted roles, especially in the tech world, especially you will have seen that, at your Googles, Metas, Amazons. These are very well paid, very challenging, but also very interesting roles in terms of putting you at the forefront of creating, leading the vision and the roadmap for your product. At the end of this video, I have a cheat sheet that I will link in the description. This gives you a good summary of what we talked about, gives you a good recap of the project, delivery-centric roles that you can encounter in technology, so that you have a good sense of some of the key aspects and features that we just discussed. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions, just drop a comment, reach out, and I'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you.